to Relish. I'm Alli. I'm a nutritionist and a yoga teacher and author of the Smoothie Book, and I'm here to talk to you every week about a nutrition topic. Super excited for this week. We're talking about dates, which are great for the holidays. Lots of good information about background information, about health information. We're going to make a recipe for almond butter date balls, which are really a nice thing to add to like a cookie tray, appetizers, snacks, all kinds of stuff. And it's got really good healthy stuff in it. And just wanted to remind you, you can also buy the Smoothie Book. If you need another present for the holiday season, you can buy it on relish.com or on my website, allishurcliffewellness.com. So check it out. It's 100 recipes of plant-based smoothies. Awesome. All right, so today we are going to be discussing the date. Here we go. One of my favorite food items. So versatile, such a great snack. Okay, so let's talk dates. And if you have any questions or comments, want to be part of the conversation, please add your comments to the chat. I love having a conversation during the show. So please join in. All right, so what is a date? Well, the date, also known as the date palm, is a flowering plant species of the palm family, also known as hold on, I always have to sound it out because there's a lot of vowels in this word. Raceae, I think, family. And it's this family of plants, this tree, is cultivated for the sweet and delicious fruit, the date. So, date trees are typically 69 to 75 feet tall, very tall. The species is cultivated across northern Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia, and in southern United States. Date fruits are oval-shaped, as we know. I will hold one up again. These are the medjool. Here we go. They are oval-shaped, about 1 to 3 inches long, and contain one single pit. When they're ripe, they range in all different colors. They can be yellow, they can be red, they can be brown, depending on the variety. So we'll talk about the varieties right now. So there are 3 groups of dates that exist. There are soft, semi-dry, and dry. So the soft are the medjool, which is what we have today. That's the only kind I really buy, unless I'm going to be using them for baking or something. But the medjool really are the most delicious, then, in my opinion. And then there's the semi-dry, which you've also seen before. You can buy those a lot of times in the dried fruit section at a grocery store. They're just a little bit smaller. Those are called halawi or the deglet noor. Those are 2 different kinds. But those are the kinds you're going to get when you buy the kind of more packaged version of the date. And then there are dry dates, which are, there are a couple of varieties, well, there are a lot of varieties, but the ones that we're familiar with are either called thuri, or there's the jujube red dates, which are also called Chinese dates, which look a lot different than the medjool. They're red, they're a lot smaller, used in different purposes, but also a form of a date. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of history about the date. Okay, so the date palm's place of origin really isn't completely known because it's been cultivated for so long. Some people say they originated from the Fertile Crescent near Egypt and Mesopotamia, while others think they are more native to the Persian Gulf or Western India. So lots of different ideas of where they originated, but it's kind of unknown. There are fossil records, this is interesting, that show that the date palm existed at least 50 million years ago. I don't know if that's one of the oldest fruits that has existed, but that seems like a really long time ago. They've been a staple food of the Middle East and the Indus Valley for thousands of years. And there is archaeological evidence that dates were cultivated during the Neolithic civilization in western Pakistan around 7000 BCE, long time ago, and in eastern Arabia between 5500 and 5300 BCE. So, long time ago. Long time ago. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. Okay. They've been cultivated since ancient times in Mesopotamia, like we just discussed, and prehistoric Egypt. The ancient Egyptians used the fruit to make date wine. I'd like to try that. And also ate dates, just like we do, right when they harvest them. Just popped them right in because they are just so, so good. U.S. growers primarily produce two varieties. The Deglet Noor, which we talked about, the one that's semi-dry, and then, it's smaller, usually used for baked goods and things where they're chopped up. And then the Medjool, which, is my favorite. Maple-colored fruit, much more rich and more soft. Known for its taste and texture, especially during the holidays. So that brings me to why I wanted to talk about dates. Today's going to be the last episode of Relish of 2021. We'll return next year, but I wanted to do something festive. Dates are super fun, and you see them a lot around the holidays. So that's why we're talking dates today. Okay, every medjool date grown in the United States pretty much has roots back to Morocco, some people say. American growers produce about 33,000 tons of dates per year, according to some government figures. American dates come almost exclusively from the Bard Valley and from California's Coachella Valley, desert south of Palm Springs. So when you go visit those areas, you see a lot of dates. More than 6 million tons. So the U.S. produces about 33,000 tons. The rest of the world Middle Eastern countries produce collectively 6 million tons per year. That's a lot. That is a lot. Okay, so how are dates consumed besides just eating them? There are so many different ways, and we are going to discuss them now. Okay, so dry or soft dates are eaten as is, like we do at our house. We eat them for snacks. And so they can be pitted and stuffed with all kinds of different fillings, like almonds, like walnuts. I do that. Walnuts and dates are a really good combo. Pecans, candied orange and lemon peel, tahini. I've never done that, but that sounds really good. Tahini. Goat cheese, blue cheese. Sometimes they're stuffed with one of these things and then wrapped with bacon and then cooked. There was a French restaurant that I used to go to where they lightly warmed the dates and then they drizzled warm olive oil over them and sprinkled salt, and it was an appetizer. So good. So, so good. And then partially dried pitted dates are sometimes glazed with syrup or coated in sugar or coated in coconut. We're going to be coating some of our almond butter date balls today in coconut. They can be chopped and used in sweet and savory dishes. So some of the savory dishes would be tagines from Morocco. So a lot of times it's like couscous and maybe a meat, maybe some apricots, maybe some chopped dates. So good with that combination. Also puddings, they're included in puddings. Those are sweet. And then there's a type of Arab cookie that has dates in it. Date nut bread is really popular in the U.S., especially during the holiday time. I think dates are also sometimes included in fruitcakes. So sometimes dates are processed into little cubes. I'm sure you've seen those. A lot of times they're in dried fruit mixes. And sometimes it's processed into a paste or a spread or a date syrup or a date powder, so like date sugar. Date vinegar is also a product that's sometimes made in the Middle East, which is interesting. I'd really like to try that. Chocolate-covered dates have become a thing, and then there's a sparkling date juice that in some Islamic countries it's used during celebrations, kind of like champagne, but it's non-alcoholic. During celebrations, special occasions, religious times such as Ramadan. And I learned that oftentimes when Muslims break their fast in the evening during Ramadan, it's traditional to eat a date first. I like that idea. In Britain, chopped dates are used in dessert recipes like sticky toffee pudding. That sounds really good. Christmas pudding, which I'm not exactly sure what's in Christmas pudding, but that sounds good too. Probably very festive, maybe some cinnamon. And date and walnut loaves, especially around Christmas. Dates are also one of the ingredients in HP sauce. I had to look that up. So it looks kind of like a steak sauce or something, but it's popular in the UK. And the ingredients of HP sauce are usually a tomato base, and then it's blended with malt vinegar and spirit vinegar, and then some sort of sweetener like molasses or sugar, and then dates, then corn flour, rye flour, salt, spices, and tamarind. All of that's pureed and made into a sauce. But it's a popular British condiment. Interesting. In southeast Spain, usually dates are pitted and stuffed with a fried almond, and then wrapped in bacon and then pan fried. So kind of similar to the stuffed dates that we were just talking about. Super good. In Israel, date syrup, In Israel, date syrup is used in cooking chicken and also for sweets and desserts and also as a honey substitute. I like that idea. Dates are one of the ingredients in a Middle Eastern fruit syrup as well. In Pakistan, a viscous thick syrup made from dates is also used, this is not for culinary purposes, it's also used for leather bags and pipes to prevent leaking. I thought that was interesting. And then date seeds sometimes are soaked and ground up for animal feed. And their oil is used in cosmetics and dermatological applications, which I did not know that either. So many uses. So you can eat all the delicious part. The pits can be used for other products. It's a win-win. Okay, so health information about dates. I've got 5 pieces of health information. Just nutritionally speaking, dates are 21% water, 75% carbohydrate, 2% protein, and less than 1% fat. So mostly carb. So health benefits, besides them being delicious. Because that can make you healthy if you eat something you really enjoy. Okay, number 1. Dates are a great source of fiber. One date has about 1 gram of fiber. And we all know fiber is good for our digestion. And also fiber is good when you're eating something that is high in carbohydrates. The fiber helps slow down the process of it helps with blood sugar control. So if there's a little bit of fiber, it helps the process of the sugar getting into our system. Helps slow that down. So that's good. Okay, number 2. Dates are a source of iron, which that is great news for everybody, especially for vegetarians and vegans that don't eat a lot of iron from animal sources. There are other ways to get iron, of course, but dates are one of them. So let's say you make a really good, we make this sometimes at our house, like a really good couscous dish, chopped dates, some kale, some lentils. You've got 2 good sources of iron there. The lentils, actually 3. The lentils, the kale, and the dates. And then the vitamin C that's in the kale helps you absorb that iron even better. So it's a win-win. Dates are a source of iron. Not a huge source, but they've got some iron in them. Okay, number 3. Dates have a good amount of antioxidants. You know, I love talking about those, mainly from carotenoids and phenolics, the polyphenols that you find in plant-based foods, like fruits and vegetables and legumes. And so we know antioxidants are good, fight off the free radicals, help our immune system, help our general health. Okay, dates are also a source of 4 minerals: selenium, copper, potassium, magnesium, all good things that we need for healthy functioning of our body. And last but not least, this is so interesting. Dates may help induce labor in the late stages of pregnancy when you're ready to go into labor. There have been a lot of studies done suggesting eating dates. So cool. There was a study that found that dates are effective in decreasing the length of labor as well, and reduced the need of oxytocin, which is a drug used sometimes to accelerate labor. Well, they say dates may help so that you don't have to take that. It's recommended to consume dates in women that are okay with eating dates. So that is so cool. So cool. I'm going to tell all of my friends that are in the late stages of pregnancy, if they want to go into labor, have some dates. Okay, what is the best way to store dates? Well, they're best stored in the refrigerator in an airtight container to help them retain their moisture. Sometimes they do lose a little bit of their moisture after time, but they can be stored up to 6 months in the refrigerator if they last that long in your house. I don't think they would last that long because we eat them. But large quantities of dates can also be frozen for up to 1 year. So if you don't think you're going to eat all of your dates, put them in the freezer. Okay, well that is the information on dates. Let's make some almond butter date balls. They're going to be good. So yeah, these are great. If you're making a cookie tray and you want to give them out to your friends, your family, this is a great addition. And it's really healthy. Lots of protein. Okay, and fiber. Okay, so you can find this recipe on relish.com. It is by Simply Recipes. Okay, I've got all of our ingredients laid out here. We are going to start with 1/2 cup of walnuts. And this was great. I had all of these things on hand because we eat a lot of nuts and dates in our house. So we've got 1/2 cup of walnuts. Pop it in the food processor. And 1/2 cup of pitted dates. Make sure the dates are pitted because we don't want the pits to be in this mix because you could really hurt a tooth. Okay, so these are pitted. I bought these pitted. They don't even look, sometimes when they're pitted, it looks like they dry out, but these did not. Okay, let's just make sure. I'm going to tear them in half just to make sure there's no pit. No pit that one. No pit in that one. Sometimes you get a random one that does. No pit in that one. No pit in that one. So about 4 dates is 1/2 cup, I'd say. Alrighty. So that's what you put in first, and we're going to pulse the just the walnuts and the dates. I'm going to pulse that first. All right, ready, set, pulse. Okay, so it says to pulse several times until well combined. The pieces should look like a rough crumble. Looks like a rough crumble. Here, I'll bring it over to show you. Okay. That is a rough crumble. There we go. Okay. So let's put it back in. Now, we are going to add some more ingredients. This has a lot of ingredients, but it's all really good stuff. Okay. Next, we're going to add the cocoa powder, 1/2 cup. There we go. You can use any brand you want. 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, and then, you know me, I always put less sweetener than things say because dates are so sweet anyway. We're supposed to use a scant 1/2 cup of maple syrup, but we're using about 2 tablespoons. You can always add more. I'd rather put less and then add more. But we're just doing about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, because it's pretty sweet. Okay, and half of a cup of almond butter. There we go. Almond butter. And I'm going to use my spatula to get that in here. You can use any nut butter. You can use peanut butter, cashew butter, walnut butter, almond butter, as the recipe says. Okay. Anything else that we're adding? Oh, yes. Okay. And half of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just going to hold it up because I didn't want to spill it. And and a fourth of a teaspoon of sea salt. Okay, that's it for now. We will, I'm going to move these since we're not using them anymore. Okay, so we're going to, okay. We're going to pulse until the mixture is smooth and thick. Okay, here we go, pulsing. Oh boy, this looks good. Nice and chocolatey. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to show you how this looks. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay. All right, there we go. One more thing to add. Add almonds and pulse a few times to incorporate them. You want them to sort of be irregularly sized. Okay. Make sure the leg goes back down. Okay, so half a cup of raw almonds. Okay. And pulse. And I'm going to just clean this off on the sides because sometimes things just get stuck on the sides, you know. But this texture looks great. All right. And pulse. I used to take a cardio Pilates class, and the teacher would always say, pulse, pulse, pulse. So I always think of that. Okay. When I'm pulsing for the food processing. Okay, so that's it. Okay, look at that. That's very nice. It's kind of crumbly, but it's going to come together really well. All right, so now you're going to take a baking sheet. I just brought like the cookie rack or whatever. So you can do whatever with parchment. I did that because we were going to refrigerate this after, and I don't have a whole lot of room in my refrigerator right now, so a baking sheet was going to be too big, so I chose this. Whatever works, a plate. Okay, then we're going to take a little spoonful, and then you roll the mixture into, ooh, these look good, a little ball. We're going to put it on the parchment. Okay, so I'm going to do 3. Let's see which one it is. Okay, we're good on time. Actually, I'll do more. Okay, so then this is the fun part. Then you just roll them into, you can make them as big as you want. Mine are kind of like a big gumball size. Re-roll this one. These are great snacks. And the cocoa powder, when you just buy it, not sweetened and anything, it is a really good source of fiber and iron. So keep that in mind. We've got the dates, all those nutritional benefits from the dates. And then we have lots of protein from the walnuts, from the almonds. So many good things. Okay, so now I've got a couple of sitting here. All right, and I'm gonna just try my hands off a little bit. And I have a bowl of cocoa powder. And I have a bowl of coconut. So you can keep the energy balls as is, or you can coat them. So we're going to coat one in coconut, just so I can show you. Oh yeah, that looks very festive. Very, very festive. And I'm going to coat one in cocoa powder. Show you what that looks like. That looks very festive too. They look like little truffles. Isn't that great? Okay. So you can coat them however you like or not coat it at all. So many fun things. Okay. Snacks. Add them to your cookie tray. Have them for breakfast on the go. So many options here. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining in for the last show of 2021. We'll be back next year. Have a good holiday season. Thanks for joining the show. Have some dates. Get the smoothie book. And I'll see you next time. Happy holidays.